Proactive, are we up?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, the dynamic proactive elevator is going to be gross at first, and that doesn't hurt. Gross or fine as long as it's dynamic. Gross or fine on the rudder or on the elevator. You can go gross until you get fine. I mean, that's the way people learn. That's the way babies crawl. Gross and fine, and then they actually walk later.
Walk around.
But so we're going to do that with the elevator, and then when we get better, it's like that. The low horsepower trainers are real easy to do this with. The 180 or a Bonanza or something, it's going to try to jump up in the air. It's actually going to go up and then come down. Why is it going to come down? Because it's not the VSO. It's going to jump up and mush back down. So you don't want that. You want to stay in low ground effect, so you want to get on that dynamic proactive elevator even in that big airplane. And keep it in low ground effect. 6 inches is best, 3 foot is fine, you know. So, and we're continuing to walk the rudder to keep to bracket that center line, to keep that center line bracketed between our toes. I hate that. I always said between my legs, but then there's something wrong with that now. But anyway, okay, the mains came off below VSO because it would still fly in ground effect, and it will not fly in out of ground effect until we get faster, and we're rapidly getting faster. The low ground effect, free energy, the thing is, it just accelerates so much faster. The design of an airplane is to fly, not to roll on the ground. It'll accelerate rapidly in low ground effect. We want to stay level, low, until the end of the runway, if we're in the desert, or if there's a tree, till we pitch over that tree, or if we're on long runways of the day at cruise. When we get to cruise, we can go ahead and cruise climb safely with maneuvering speed, with zoom reserve airspeed, as Wolfgang and I used to say. But that's what we want. We want to be able to maneuver if the engine quits. We want to be able to maneuver if there's gusts. We want to be able to maneuver if there's birds. We want to, you know, things out there, cliffs, towers. You know, we want to be able to maneuver. So we pitched to the reason we pitched to just over the obstruction is airspeed is altitude if we want to get it, but we have to trade airspeed to get the altitude. Why do we want to be 200 foot over the obstruction at VY? And then the engine quit. At VY pitch attitude, but not VY speed anymore. And 1, 2, what's happening now? 3, yeah, stall and die. You know, we don't want to do that. We want to pitch to just over the obstruction if we're on a short runway and there's an obstruction at the end. Certainly want to VX or VY if it's appropriate. You know, if we're out in the bush and 1,500 foot strip and big trees at the end, that's a different deal. You know, but on a big runway, why are we pitching to VX or VY when they're not appropriate? Because it says VX or VY is appropriate. I understand, but that's not safe. That's not the safest way to fly. And the technology we have now with videos and these things that'll tell you how fast he was going and how high he was and all of that after the accident, because he's not around anymore to tell anybody, those things are showing us that people take off too slow and they land too fast. And we need to start trying to correct both those problems. But right now we're talking about taking off too slow. We're talking about VY or VX when it's not appropriate. Where low ground effect, acceleration, pitch to just over the obstruction is very appropriate and very safe. Cruise climb. Cruise climb once we're away. Most experienced pilots cruise climb. They don't want to climb at VY where they can't see out the front very well. Cruise climb is more comfortable and certainly safer. I think that's it.
Awesome.